Things you would never bring up in therapy, you could bring up here.
How does a couple survive infidelity? I feel like I'm the only one working.
So infidelity, betrayal, most relationships can't survive. It's one of the hardest things to go through. And the only time I've ever seen it work is if one person, the person who was cheated on, chooses not only to forgive, but chooses to see himself as no longer a victim. And then the other person at the same time takes ownership of what happened and is actively working on where not only the cheating came from, because a lot of times the cheating is a result of other things happening, you know. There's so many reasons why infidelity happens, and it's not just because they're not interested in their partner anymore. There's a lot of reasons why infidelity happens that have nothing to do with the partner, right? So that person has to actively work on where that hole is, where that reaction came from, you know, and then to actually build trust again. Both people have to build trust again. One person has to learn how to trust again because their body is saying, I don't trust this person. And then the other person is creating a space for trust to be built, earned. Trust has to be earned again. Yeah. And so it takes two pistons pumping for the engine, the relationship to continue rolling again. Usually it's one person doing the work, the other person doesn't, and the whole thing falls apart.
Why does heartbreak feel like something died inside me?
Something did die inside you because when we love someone, it's not just emotional, it's biological. Science shows that our bodies actually sync up. Heartbeats align, hormones shift, neurochemicals like oxytocin and dopamine surge, rewriting our inner chemistry. It's a swirl. Even our immune systems begin to mirror each other. It's a cellular exchange. That's what love is. And an imprint, your body carrying pieces of theirs and theirs carrying pieces of you. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. So when love ends, it's not just a metaphor to say something dies inside you. It's literal. Cells that once fired with connection go dark, and neural pathways collapse. The hormones that surge in their presence now leave a void. Your body mourns like a city after a blackout, right? And also think about spiritually, right? The death is just as real. The self you built in relation to them, the way you saw the world through their presence also dissolves, right? It's a kind of a funeral for a version of you that no longer exists. Loving someone means allowing your body and soul to be rearranged by their existence. And this means also on a cellular level, it means carrying a phantom limb, almost the echo of a life that once pulsed through your cells and through your spirit. You have to allow that inside you, that was us, to die. And I know it sounds harsh and hard, but there is a cleansing, right? That must happen. But with every death, like cells, regeneration, reborn, something new, something different, something stronger, right?
Thinking of trying again with ex-wife, but maybe it's because I see her with other people now.
Here's my question to you, and I think the biggest, most important question you should ask yourself if you are considering a round two and it's not who they're sleeping with currently or what they're doing, or if you can move past that, it's actually what's going to be different this time? What's going to be different? How are you guys going to show up to the relationship differently so the same thing doesn't happen? Because I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter how much time has passed. It doesn't matter if we've been with different people or have realized that there aren't many fish in the sea, or whatever revelations you have. If you have not changed from the inside out, if you have not gained awareness tools, if you have not gone on any kind of healing journey or taken ownership, the plane's going to go down again. It doesn't matter what people look like, or how long it's been, or how much people miss each other, or who they've been with. If you want to do a round two people have to come to the table as different people from the inside out. And so the relationship dynamic is different, because that's what's important. The relationship dynamic will be the same because tracks were laid, and what didn't work before will still be there unless you lay new tracks. And in order to lay new tracks, two people have to show up in a very different way.
How do you know when you're ready to date again or toe dip back into it?
How do you know when you're ready to date again? Simply put, when you're no longer auditioning for love, when you stop trying to convince people that you're enough, when you're not entering the arena with your resume in one hand and your wounds tucked neatly behind your back. You're ready when you're not looking for someone to rescue you from loneliness, but to join you in it sometimes, right? When you can sit across from someone on a first date, not needing them to feel a void, but curious about who they are, not who they might help you become. Therapeutically speaking, readiness isn't a feeling. It's a shift in orientation. It's when your desire to connect outweighs your compulsion to escape. When the nervous system isn't hijacked by panic or fantasy, but can breathe through uncertainty. It's when love becomes a choice, not a coping mechanism. And all of this, broad strokes, we snap back, we're human, right? But you're ready when rejection doesn't destroy you, when silence doesn't send you spiraling, when someone liking you doesn't feel like winning the lottery, but just a nice surprise. In other words, you're ready to date again, not when you've healed, quote unquote, but when you've made peace with your unfinishedness.
How do you know when it's time to seriously consider divorce, or when to keep trying?
This is one of the most popular questions I get. I get it all the time. How do I know if I should leave my marriage or relationship? And I used to have a go-to answer, but I'm not going to give that anymore, because every relationship is different, complicated. And instead, I'm going to give you a bunch of questions to get beneath the surface. All right, question one. Am I seeking escape from pain or movement toward truth? Is this about avoiding something or honoring something, right? Question two. What if I already tried to repair this relationship? And how deeply have I shown up in that effort? Bringing it back to you, what have you done to heal this relationship? Not blaming your partner. And of course, this isn't about blame. It's about clarity on effort, accountability, and reality, right? Number three, do I respect my partner? Respect is huge. And do they respect me back? Love might remain, but respect is the soil a relationship grows from. Without it, there are no legs. Number four, what version of myself am I in this relationship? And do I recognize this person? Are you growing? Are you shrinking? Are you hiding? Number five, if nothing changes, can I live with this dynamic, say 5 years from now, right? Can you be in this relationship or marriage for like the next 5 years? And how's that feel in your body? Would you be happy? Or are you just like white knuckling this? Some questions to ask yourself.
How do you manage being triggered in a healthy relationship?
Being triggered in a relationship, I think a better word is activation. How do you manage activation in a relationship, in a healthy relationship? Person has asked.
Well, I think let's just first off establish that being activated is normal. No amount of therapy work is going to make you not be activated. So I just want to put that out there because I think that's maybe like a common misconception I hear as a therapist. But I would say a lot of my managing my activation comes from all my mindfulness work. So it has to do with being with yourself. So learning to sit in the fire of what's happening in your body during activation and be with it and name it and not try to change it. Breathe into it, allow it space. And then for me, because I'm a verbal processor, it might look like then saying out loud what's like racing through my mind. So being with yourself, like that's what that actually looks like tangibly.
Asking yourself where the activation is coming from, to me, is the speed bump and also the responsibility in any relationship. Most people, when they're activated, they react instead of respond, and they're blaming and pointing fingers, which is kind of the knee jerk. So asking yourself where the activation is coming from is going to help you actually get to know you better, correct?
Yeah, following the thread.
You have 20 seconds. No, I think we're good.
I get jealous a lot and end up trying to control my partner. But is it control or my own shit?
All right, let me read something I wrote to you about jealousy. Jealousy isn't about your partner, it's about you. I know it's hard to hear, but let's stop pretending you're just being quote unquote curious when you check their phone or spiral because they liked someone's post, or replay their laugh or connection with someone in your head over and over and over again. You say, I trust them, I just don't trust the other person, right? Nope, that's not it. What's really happening is something old is getting activated within you. Jealousy is a signal, not a sin. Jealousy is your nervous system remembering, right? Times you were ignored, replaced, told you weren't enough. Times you gave your heart and it was stepped on. But here's the catch. Your brain doesn't show you those memories directly. It tells you stories about what's happening now. These are false beliefs, like they're pulling away, or they're going to leave, or they're into someone else. None of these are facts. They're emotional hallucinations, echoes from the past disguised as truth in the present. And this is what you're pulling from. This is what's happening. So what most of us do, we accuse, we shrink, we control, we call it boundaries, but really it's fear wearing a costume. Instead, here's what you can do. 1, name it. Without shame, say, I'm feeling jealous. That's it. You're not shady. That person is not being shady, right? Your partner, you're just feeling jealous, right? And 2, track it. Ask yourself, when have I felt this way before? Jealousy rarely starts in the moment. It's a flashback, not a red flag. Number 3, ask what you actually need, right? Not a fight, not the silent treatment. You say, hey, listen, I'm feeling a little insecure right now. Can we connect? That's how intimacy is built, brick by brick, not by blow up. And you are being transparent and vulnerable. Jealousy doesn't make you crazy. It makes you human. The question is, will you weaponize it? And this is what most people do with their jealousy, right? Or will you listen to what it's actually telling you? Because jealousy isn't asking you to control your partner. It's asking you to trust yourself, to hold your wounds and care, to speak what's true instead of what's loud. So next time it shows up, don't shame it, sit with it, learn from it. Then, hello, let it go.
What's the number one thing in any relationship to make it sustainable?
Hands down, the ability to repair ruptures, and not just to repair, but also give each other a corrective experience. Because as we have fights and repair, we start to learn more about ourselves, because no one's perfect and there's residue and shit comes up. So it's this consistency of giving each other a corrective experience where you prove not only to your mind, but to your body that this is safe, that this is what love looks like, that this is healthy. It's this digesting, and sorry about the long pause. I'm 52. My short term is gone. What was I talking about? Digesting in your body, not in logic, this corrective experience of what love can feel like. is going to be what's healing, right? And so if you don't have the ability, or your partner or both of you guys, to not only repair ruptures, meaning to fight in a healthy way where there's resolution and understanding and healing, right? Dissolving resentment. If you're not doing that and also giving each other a corrective love experience, I feel like it's only a matter of time before, the house of cards comes crumbling down. You really have to learn how to fight without fighting.
What are 5 things that will change a man forever?
5 things that will change a man forever. Number 1, losing his father or realizing that his father was never there. Every man eventually confronts the shadow of his dad through death, through absence. There's like a reckoning, and he reshapes himself through that. Number 2, failing at the role he thought defined him, whether it's provider, protector, leader, athlete, entrepreneur, whatever it is, that was tied to his identity. And it's when his manhood crumbles and he either breaks or begins to rebuild himself differently. Number 3, loving a woman, loving anyone who won't accept half a man, right? The love that requires honesty and demands presence, vulnerability, and him to look at self, to take ownership. No masks, no shortcuts. Number 4, facing his own violence. The moment when anger, aggression, the control, all that backfires, and he has to confront what his strength really is for. The toxic patterns, the throwing chairs, the reactions, all that, right? And number 5, becoming a father. Nothing rewires a man like holding a child who looks back at him and asks him, "Who are you?"
What is shadow work and why is it important?
Shadow work is a practice of I'm laughing because I'm trying to be in a shadow, trying to be creative. Shadow work is a practice of exploring the unconscious parts of ourselves that we have buried, that we have deemed unacceptable. And if not us, then by friends, society, family, right? The things that we have labeled as wrong or bad. A lot of times they come from survival instincts, and this is coined by Carl Young. It's everything that we don't want to be but are, right? It's where shame, jealousy, insecurities, rage, our unhealed wounds live. But also, paradoxically, it's where our creativity, our sensuality, our authenticity, all of that is also trapped too. And this is why it's important, because number 1, unseen wounds control us, right? What we don't own owns us. So repressed emotions leak into our lives through projection, self-sabotage, and repeated toxic patterns. And so healing happens in wholeness. You can't just have light and love, running toward peace. Wholeness comes from integrating the light and the dark. And this is where the shadow work comes in, being aware of what your shadows are, but also integration, right? And then also deeper intimacy. Doing shadow work allows us to love others more fully because we've practiced loving the rejected parts of ourselves, the rejected parts of ourselves that we have discarded, right? So there's a reunion there. True freedom. You start being run by your conditioning, by your trauma, by the roles that you had to play to survive. You begin to live by choice, not by unconscious programming. So it's bringing shadow into the light, right? That's the process. It's a door to your true self. Often beneath the shadow is gold. The parts of you that were suppressed, your wildness, your voice, your intuition, all of this stuff, the nectar of you, it all needs to be reclaimed. Listen, shadow work isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. How do I hide in this lot? Trying to disappear into the shadow. I don't have that filter.